On Saturday, March 20th, 2004, a Vermont State Police trooper discovered Brianna's Oldsmobile backed into an abandoned house in Richford. The rear end of the car had breached the siding, but no one knew who was inside or why it was there. Brianna Alexandra Maitland was born on October 8, 1986, in Burlington, Vermont. She spent her early years on her family's farm in East Franklin, near the Canadian border, where she lived with her parents and older brother. By the time she turned 17, Brianna had made a decision that would mark a turning point in her life. She wanted independence. On October 2003, she left the family homestead to move away from her parents and begin living on her own terms. The following year, by February 2004, Brianna dropped out of high school and moved in with a childhood friend, Jillian Stout, in Sheldon, Vermont. There, she enrolled in a GED program to continue her education. This was a new chapter for Brianna, away from the farm, away from the life she had known, and toward a future she believed was within reach. On the morning of March 19, 2004, Brianna Maitland completed her GED exam, a milestone she had worked hard to achieve. Later that afternoon, she joined her mother for a shopping trip in Richford, Vermont. While waiting in line at a store checkout, Brianna suddenly told Kelly something outside caught her attention and walked out briefly. When she returned to the parking lot, she appeared visibly shaken, agitated, and unnerved. This was the last time Kelly would see her daughter alive. The moment marked an abrupt shift in Brianna's day, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions that would follow for years to come. On the afternoon of March 19, 2004, Kelly Maitland dropped her daughter Brianna off at Jillian Stout's home in Sheldon, Vermont. Between 3:30 and 4 p.m., Brianna left a note for Jillian promising to return after her evening shift. She then drove her mother's 1985 Oldsmobile sedan to the Black Lantern Inn in Montgomery, where she worked as a server. After completing her shift, Brianna clocked out alone at approximately 11:20 p.m. The car she drove had been registered to Kelly, but it was Brianna who had taken control of its keys for the evening. There were no witnesses to what happened next, only the quiet certainty that she left the inn on her own accord. What led her away from the inn and toward an abandoned house in Richford remains unknown. The car would be found there 5 days later, but Brianna herself was not inside it. Days after Brianna Maitland vanished, a chilling discovery was made in Richford, Vermont. A state trooper stumbled upon her 1985 Oldsmobile sedan backed into the side of an abandoned house on Route 118. The rear end of the vehicle had breached the siding of the old Dutchburn house, leaving it crumpled and out of place. Inside the car, 2 of Brianna's paychecks lay on the front seat. Outside, a water bottle, loose change, and an unsmoked cigarette rested on the ground beside the vehicle. Assuming the crash was caused by a drunk driver, the trooper ordered the car towed to a local garage without immediately launching a missing person investigation. This crucial oversight would later be scrutinized. For 5 days, Brianna's whereabouts remained unknown while her abandoned car sat in the tow yard. It wasn't until Kelly Maitland learned of the discovery that she began to fear the worst for her daughter. The unsettling scene at the crash site and the lack of urgency in the initial response would fuel a wave of unanswered questions about what truly happened to Brianna on that fateful night in March 2004. In the weeks before her disappearance, Brianna Maitland was involved in a violent altercation at a party that left her with broken bones and filed charges against Keely Lacrosse. Those charges were later dropped, but the incident cast a long shadow over her final days. In late 2004, an anonymous tip suggested that 2 men, Ramon Ryans and Nathaniel Charles Jackson, were involved in Brianna's disappearance and alleged murder. Another caller, later claimed she was being held in the basement of a farmhouse in Berkshire, rented by drug dealers. These conflicting leads added layers of uncertainty to an already murky case. While investigators pursued these allegations, no definitive evidence emerged to confirm or refute them. The whispers from the periphery of Vermont's criminal underworld remained just that, whispers, unanswered and unresolved. In late 2012, investigators re-examined a potential link between Brianna Maitland's disappearance and serial killer Israel Keyes. Federal agencies scrutinized travel logs and timeline intersections across northern New England, searching for any connection that might explain the gaps in Brianna's final hours. Despite extensive analysis, the FBI formally ruled out Keyes as a suspect in late December 2012, closing what had been one of the most promising leads in the case. With this possibility eliminated, attention returned to local actors and the many unanswered questions surrounding Brianna's last known movements. The investigation faced new challenges, but no definitive evidence emerged to explain what happened to her that night, or why she left her mother in such apparent distress just hours before vanishing without a trace. 2 decades after Brianna Maitland vanished on March 19, 2004, her disappearance remains one of Vermont's most enduring mysteries. The physical wreckage of her car, found backed into an abandoned house on Route 118 in Richford, stands as a frozen monument to that night. A substantial financial reward, announced on the 20th anniversary of her disappearance, continues to offer hope for answers. Brianna's martial arts training and independent spirit were hallmarks of her youth, traits that defined her life before she disappeared under circumstances still unknown. The car was discovered 5 days after she vanished, but no one knew who had left it there or what had happened to Brianna. The truth remains buried in the silence of a quiet Vermont road, waiting for someone to bring it to light. If you're ready for the next case, follow along for the investigation ahead.